Pleased to be joined by the new head basketball coach of the South Plains College men's basketball program, Coach Hayden Sowers. Coach, first of all, how does that title sound? How surreal is it to take over for a guy like Coach Green? All he's accomplished, and you're the guy who has to kind of keep the train going.
Yeah. No, it feels good. It seems like just yesterday it got announced in early June, and we've been working to do is just as you just said, keep it rolling. I tell all our guys all the time, we're not building anything. We got pressure on us to maintain what Coach Green built in his 20 plus years here.
Obviously, you have a good resume yourself. You were at Ole Miss. You were here with Coach Green. What is the biggest difference that you found in the few, short months between being one of the top assistants to now the head guy, as far as the X's and O's, the ins and outs, and just the little details that a lot of people don't think about?
Well, you're just responsible for everything. You gotta wake up every day, and you're responsible for each and everything that goes on in the program. From off the court, on the court, planning practice. To me, planning practice has been the biggest adjustment. And the time and the effort and the thoughts that go into planning practice each and every day, so you can develop a plan to get better at certain things and execute that on the court. And if you don't have a plan, then you've wasted a day, and that's not what we want to do.
You got to spend a year here under Coach Green and kind of watch how the program operates and that kind of thing. How big was that, and how much of that will you take into this year and kind of build upon your experience having a year at South Plains?
Oh, huge, man, huge. Learning. I tell people all the time. I used to pick his brain, constantly with questions and different thoughts and his thoughts on things. Because to me, he's the best that's ever done it at this level, and to be able to work for him and learn from him for a year, just words can't even describe how valuable that experience was.
Now we'll kind of jump into we're 2 weeks away from tipping off, and obviously I know your guys are ready. You're ready. Tough schedule as always to kick off the season. Talk about talk about your guys. You bring back some new faces. Some people from last year from a team that went to the Sweet 16. So obviously that's going to help you. Obviously the name of the game in recruiting, junior college is recruiting. So that's also going to play key for you. You brought in some key pieces. Talk about your roster.
Yeah, well, anytime in junior college you can bring guys back, that's huge. And we bring back 3 guys that started, I think, 41 games combined, which is, I think, is the most in junior college, bringing back as far as starting game-wise. Those guys are Jayden Harris, Malik Abdel-Gowad, and Khalifa Sacco. And all 3 of those guys played major minutes, not only through the whole season into conference play, but in the region tournament that we won, and then they got to experience Hutch. And having those guys back to be able to tell the newcomers what we're working for is invaluable. All 3 of those guys have been, phenomenal, everyday workers. All of them have gotten better since they've been here. All of them, started this summer, sacrificing living on campus, living here, not going home, and working towards a common goal. As far as newcomers, we signed 7 transfers, 6 from Division I, 1 from NAIA. All of those guys have come in with the understanding of how you got to be an everyday guy to compete in college, and those guys have been through the war and the fire in Division I and the 4-year level, and they've carried that on right here for us. Elijah Tate, Chris Coleman, Moon Reith, Jalen Scott, Ish Habib, and Bryson Ogletree are those guys. Chris Coleman is actually a transfer from LSU Alexandria NAIA. He is currently committed to UAB in the American Conference, and we got a couple other of those guys going to visit some schools here in the future to make their decisions. But we've had a really competitive preseason. When you bring in transfers and older guys, it's going to be that way, and that's how I wanted it to be. Brought in 4 or 5 talented freshmen that we understood are going to have to learn how to bring it every day, and that's why you bring in those older guys to teach those younger guys how it needs to be to win at a high level.
We'll kind of touch base and touch back on Khalifa. He's a guy, during the summer he was making a lot of news just for his performances this summer, the way he played. A guy that was crucial last year and will be even more crucial this year. How big is he to the program, and what are you expecting him from year 1 to year 2?
Huge jump. Huge jump for him. He first of all, he is a tremendous athlete. He's our defensive anchor. He moves like a point guard at 6'11", 7 feet. We're going to funnel a lot of our defense down into him to where, he was the defensive player of the year in the conference, led the conference in block shots, one of the best shot blockers I've ever seen. But we expect him to take a tremendous step forward. He's getting better on offense. He was really raw coming in, having not played basketball that long. But we're expecting a huge jump. He is our defensive anchor, and he makes us really good on the defensive end when he's locked in and ready to go.
Let's talk a little bit about the non-conference schedule. Obviously, it mirrors a lot of what Coach Green used to put together. You're going to go to Dallas twice in November and play at Collin County. Those are two very good tournaments. Then you're going to jump into the fire around the Christmas break, and if anyone's seen that bracket, you're going to have 3 or 4 of the best teams in the country on one side of a bracket. Talk about how you scheduled that and some of the things you're looking for in those early games.
Just improvement from game to game. We don't expect to come out the first game of the year and be firing at all cylinders. That's not how the season works.
Yeah.
But improvement from game to game and put together a challenging schedule that builds and leads us into conference play, which obviously we know is a war each and every night. The conference is incredibly improved top to bottom. And we put together a non-conference schedule with the goal of preparing us for conference play. And obviously non-conference ends in Phoenix at the Fiesta Bowl that, like you said, it's got us, Snow, and Salt Lake, 3 of the 3 teams that made it to Hutch last year on that top side of the bracket. We'll open up with Snow, and then if we advance, we'll play Salt Lake, which has been one of the premier teams in the country the past couple of years.
And when you do jump into conference play, you're jumping into a conference that a lot of people argue is the best conference in the country. How big will the non-conference schedule set you up to move on into the season?
Well, it's critical. It's critical to play teams that are as talented. That prepare you for the WAGJAC, because every team you play in the WAGJAC's got 7, 8, 9 Division I players and really good coaches that have been around a long time, won a lot of games, and you got to prepare your team to be ready to go once the calendar flips into that 16-game league schedule. But I like our non-conference schedule. Traveling to some cool places, good tournaments with quality teams, quality opponents, and it'll prepare us to get into conference play.
Let's touch on your assistant coaches. Obviously, you bring Trevor back, who was with you last year. You bring in Adam and Coach Jefferson. How much will you lean on those guys? How are those guys preparing for the season, and some of the things you want to see from them?
Well, Trevor did it. Being back, he understands what it takes to win. At a high level within this conference, and then once you get to Hutch, he did a tremendous job this summer when the transition was kind of going on. We had 8 guys on campus, and he was the only one here.
Yeah.
And he did an outstanding job keeping everybody together and getting them through summer school and workouts, and he understands what it takes, and he's taken, he's improved as well. We've all gotten better in different roles, and the thing I like about those 3 guys is they all complement each other. They all do different things well, and they're all working incredibly hard to try to impact winning. And that's what I like. And that's the name of the game, to impact winning, and then take care of the guys we got in the program and get them better both on and off the court and get them ready to go.
As a coach, obviously you've been wanting to be able to get into an opportunity like this. Obviously, your whole career, you now have that opportunity. What most excites you about being a head coach, about leading this program, and what are some of the things that'll be going through your mind when you lead that team on the court for the first time?
It'd just be fun.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's all about the players and watching them kind of morph and come together in a different role. Where you're the guy that's kind of leading them as the CEO, and to watch them experience success is kind of where I get my joy and my happiness and all that good stuff. Watching them win games here, compete for championships, come together, fight for each other, buy into something bigger than themselves, and then on the back end, they all get individual success if all that stuff occurs during the year as far as moving on to the next level.
Coach Sowers, we appreciate you joining us for your first interview. You have any final thoughts before we get rolling here in a couple weeks?
No, just November 1st, 6 o'clock. I'd love to see anybody that's watching this, in the building. I feel like we got a good team that'll be ready to go and put on a good show for you guys.
Coach, we appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to talking to you again. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.